Hello, friends. I have a new book to read to you today. This one is called Violet the Pilot. Her inventions will take her sky high. You see here, she has her dog with her. I don't know the dog's name. I bet you they give the dog's name in the first page or two, but we'll see. Everyone in town knew that Violet Van Winkle was a little different. For starters, she and her parents lived in an odd-looking house next to the junkyard her father managed. And while other girls were playing with dolls and tea sets, Violet played with monkey wrenches and needle nose pliers. And monkey wrenches are a special type of adjustable wrench. But what they're saying basically is she really loves to work on cars and things that run with motors or things that work on systems, like in this case, clocks. Violet was a mechanical genius. By the time she was 2, she could fix almost any broken appliance in the house. By 4, she could take apart the grandfather clock and completely reassemble it. Since she didn't have any friends aside from her dog, Orville, that was my prediction, that's what good readers do, she would spend hours tinkering with things from the yard. Violet's parents were very proud of her, although they weren't too happy the time she put the lawnmower engine on her cousin's tricycle. It looks like the cousin wasn't too happy about that either. You see the mom or somebody running out the door in a complete panic. But that's pretty amazing that she could do that. And one thing I'm noticing is that this house almost looks like it's in the shape of a boat. That's pretty cool. The older she got, the more interesting Violet's creations became. Around the time she turned 8, she was building elaborate machines from scratch. And not just any old machines. Okay, that looks a little bit like I'll let you see if you can say what that word is. Yeah, looks a little bit like a helicopter type of blade. So, could it be some kind of flying machine? Looks like it. We'll see. Flying machines, yes. Her parents couldn't believe their eyes, and when they saw Violet zoom by for the first time, they were a little worried in the beginning. But they quickly saw that she was a pretty good pilot. Careful not to hit the house, Violet's father would yell, and put on a sweater, her mother would add. Violet used anything she could find in the junkyard to make her wonderful contraptions. And there's a little red wagon called Radio Flyer. I know my kids had a Red Flyer wagon, and we still have it in our garage. There was the tub bubbler. Okay, that looks like a type of flying balloon, a hot air type of balloon. But it looks like a bathtub, and then I see bubbles, and then I see a little propeller on there. But it doesn't seem like, I don't know, it doesn't seem like the best or the fastest flying machine. And the bisocopter. Okay, a bisocopter would be combining 2 words. Biso, bicycle, copter, like a type of helicopter. You can see that Canadian goose right there. It's flying alongside. The rocket can. That one would be made out of a garbage can. Looks like it had an umbrella on the tip there. Quite a nice design. The pogo plane, okay, made with a pogo stick. The slide glider, okay, coming down the slide and then being able to glide off into the air. The wingamajig, to name a few. I mean, that looks very similar to, I would say, Orville and Wilbur Wright's first airplane that flew in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. I believe it was in 1903. It was the first time people flew in a plane. Violet's engineering was pretty sound. The only real hazards were tall trees, piles of junk in the yard, and bugs in her teeth. You can imagine that being a problem. You have to fly like this, okay, to make sure you're not getting, but then they can get up your nose, so then you have all kinds of problems that come with flying. Kids at school would see Violet eating lunch alone and make fun of her strange books and greasy coveralls. Claude and Clyde Mulrooney were especially obnoxious. I'm guessing these are the two obnoxious boys. They look kind of obnoxious. And you know, we shouldn't make fun of people just because they're different, or different than a lot of the other kids. You know, they actually could be really interesting and kind and nice people. Then one day, Violet noticed a poster in the drugstore window, Air Show, October 20th, that read, "That's only 2 weeks away," Violet thought. "Can kids fly in the show? Is homemade aircraft allowed?" So she has all these questions. That night, Violet sat in her room thinking about the air show. She knew it would be a good feeling if one of her planes won a prize. And maybe then the kids at school would be nice to her. Violet pictured exactly where she would hang her blue ribbon. So there's the poster for the air show right there. And then she's imagining that blue ribbon in her bedroom. And I could tell you, I'll use another word. She's visualizing that blue ribbon on her wall. And visualizing is actually a good thing to do, to visualize, to see the result that you want to get before you start something, and that can help you achieve your goal. She and Orville spent the next few days combing the junkyard for just the right materials. When they had collected a giant pile of stuff, the building began. One day the Mulrooney twins happened to pass by. "Look, it's that girl from school," one of them said. "What are you doing, weirdo?" We would never say that to anybody. That's just not nice. "I'm building an airplane," she told them. The twins exploded in laughter, then mumbled something mean as they walked away. Orville barked at the boys, but Violet just went to her project. "Take it easy, buddy," she said. "We're too busy to worry about them." Okay, and you can see it looks like there's like a car and then some aircraft wings that she's building. Oh, wow, look at this. That is pretty amazing. It looks like it's a combination boat and a helicopter and a plane. Finally, after days of hard work, Violet had finished making her fly-it machine. She named the magnificent new craft the Hornet. "Wait till the other people in the grandstand see me flying this," Violet said to Orville. So she's so proud, as she should be. She built something, and she's going to have fun with what she's doing. The test flight was a success, so she was able to do loop-de-loops. And I don't know how many of you have gone on a roller coaster, but that's the only time I've really done a loop-de-loop. All right, and you can see she's flying around in circles, and her dog is having fun with her too. On the day of the big air show, Violet took off, bursting with excitement. Her parents' faces had beamed with pride when they wished her luck, and she thought about that as she flew through the clear autumn sky. She calculated that the trip would take about 20 minutes. She would arrive just in time for the start of the air show. So that's so cool that her parents are supportive of her dreams. I mean, building an airplane and flying with it as a girl would be pretty dangerous, but you know, this is a fiction book. But it is nice that her parents support her dreams. Suddenly, something caught Violet's eye. In the river below, a group of people were waving frantically. Violet lowered her altitude to get a better look. A troop of Boy Scouts had run into trouble while canoeing. Violet knew she had to help. Fast. And you see their boat had hit some rocks. Okay, that they're all in the water. And, you know, that could be a dangerous situation when you're in running water like that. And, you know, one thing you don't want to do in rushing water like that, where there's a lot of rocks and the water's rushing really fast, is stand up. Because if you stand up, you get your foot caught in between a couple of rocks, and then the water can take you over sideways, and that could be a bad situation. At least that's what they taught me when I went whitewater rafting before, is don't stand up in rushing water like that. It wasn't easy rescuing all the boys, but Violet piloted the Hornet with careful precision. So it seems like she has a little bit of an inner tube type of thing, and then she has a rope. And then saving the Scoutmaster from going over the falls, where it's particularly dangerous. So because it's a helicopter type of machine, she was able to maneuver it into position and save the Scoutmaster, who was hanging from this tree branch. Violet dropped the grateful Scouts off at the hospital. When she checked her watch, 3:30, she said to Orville sadly. "We've missed the air show." She turned her plane toward home and sighed. It was a miserable feeling. And you notice how the illustrator, the person who drew the pictures here, kind of created the mood of how she felt by the coloring that they used. They used this dark gray type of coloring to show that she was in a gray mood. That evening, Violet had no appetite for dinner. She just went upstairs and sat on her bed. All of a sudden, she heard lots of noise outside the house. She and Orville went to the window and discovered that a crowd of people had gathered. Somebody spotted her. "There's Violet," the boy shouted jubilantly. "There's our hero." And you could see the dad opening the door saying, "What?" All these people are outside. And he doesn't quite know what to do. The Van Winkle stepped outside, squinting from all the flash bulbs that were popping. The press, the mayor, the fire, and the police chiefs, even kids and teachers from school had all learned of the rescue that day and had come to praise her. "Young lady, please accept this Medal of Valor as a token of our gratitude and esteem," said the mayor, and he gave Orville a new collar with a license that read Canine Hero. KK9 could be K-9, but the way we spell canine is Canine. Canine means from the dog family. And we actually have teeth. We call our canine teeth because they almost look like the teeth of dogs. And they're used for tearing meats when we eat them. From that day on, Violet's parents let her fly whenever she wanted, but her mom still made her wear a sweater. And you see this man in a passenger airplane looking out the window saying, "What? That doesn't look right. This little girl is flying this plane outside, or this flying machine outside the window of the plane." So you see here are her, these are called blueprints. And when you're designing something, you make a blueprint for you. And this is called blueprint type of paper. So when people were making designs for stuff, they would often use this blueprint type of paper. And you see she's labeling each thing, right? Old pickling barrel, a canoe hull, a hockey stick, a piece of tin, a wooden chair. So she actually labeled all of the stuff. And then she showed it from the side, or a profile view, and then a front view, and then a top view or an overhead view of what it looks like if you were looking down on it. So cool. I really love this book. And here's a final picture of Violet in her, I forget what that was called, a tin can, I don't remember. A can rocket? I think that's what it was called. But anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this book. I'll see you soon. Have a great weekend. Bye.